All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. Welcome to another live stream. So, 5 ways to use debt to your advantage. Now, let me just do a mic check. Let me make sure my mic is working so that way I don't record for nothing. Give me just a sec. Give me just a sec here. Mic, check. No, I'm actually live now. Why does it say upcoming when I'm live now? Let me reboot this. Should be live now. Okay, cool. What does it say? All right, I'm live. I'm live now. All right, so the mic is working. Mic is good. All right, cool. Yeah, so 5 ways to use debt to your advantage. So we'll get right into it. We'll waste no time. So the first way to use debt to your advantage, these are two main ways that I see people use debt, and it just seems to be the most common. And it's real estate and business expansion. Now, for most people, they like to get when they think of investments, they like to get into real estate initially. Maybe they'll buy a home, and what most people do, they get like an FHA loan where they only have to put 3% down, and it's debt, but it doesn't require you to put too much down. So that's why people gravitate to that type of loan. So that's one way you can use debt, leverage debt. You know, those FHA loans, those first home buyer loans that you typically get a good interest rate on, and you don't have to put too much down, and you get power of a lot of it's debt, but it's also backed by real assets. So people use that, and it says borrowing to invest in real estate can build wealth through appreciation and rental income, often yielding high returns in the loan interest, and that's correct. Sorry, that's correct. You know, you typically don't pay that much on the interest, and you can make probably like 6 to 7%, while your interest rate, well, now interest rates are a little bit high, but maybe like 3 4 years ago you were able to get a 2 to 3% and make 7 to 8% on rental income, something like that, and you didn't have to put too much down. So yeah, that's it. Now, obviously, like I said, interest rates are high now. Interest rates are coming down. So, maybe in the next year or two, this will be a viable option again. But right now, I think interest rates are sitting at like 5 to 6%. So it's a bit high. And then business expansion. Debt financing for businesses can enable growth without diluting ownership, using borrowed funds to expand operations or enter into new markets. Yeah, right. Like, let's say you want to open up a barber shop, a salon shop, or whatever, some type of restaurant. Typically, you can get a loan for this if you can prove to the bank. I used to work at credit unions, and I used to see people come in all the time that were starting new businesses, and they basically prove to the bank that, okay, my business is going to generate $50,000 to $100,000 a year, and maybe they needed a $15,000 to $20,000 loan to get the business started, and they were able to leverage debt to open up a business or expand a business to make money and cover the debt that they borrowed. Right? Those are 2 ways. Real estate and business expansion are 2 ways when it comes to leveraging for investments. The first way is leveraging for investments, and real estate and business expansion is two of those options in there. All right, number two. Two is tax deductions. Certain types of debt, like mortgage interest or business loan interest, may be tax deductible. This can lower your taxable income and provide savings, making the debt more affordable. Right. So like they said, mortgage interest or business loan interest, all this stuff is tax deductible. So when you do your taxes and things like that, that leverage that you use on your mortgage, on your business, it was worth it, because now when it comes to tax time, you can deduct a lot of things from your mortgage and from your business, a lot of the expenses and things like that. So tax deductions is a benefit that comes from leveraging debt. And maybe when you open up your own business, you'll start to see that. And obviously you would need like a CPA so you can maximize the amount of tax deductions you can get. And yeah, that's a benefit that comes with leveraging debt. All right, number 3, the third way leveraging debt to your advantage is credit building, right? Responsible use of debt can help build your credit score, which in turn opens up access to better interest rates and terms for future borrowing. Managing small loans or credit cards properly establishes good credit history, right? And this is true. If you use debt appropriately, if you're not building up balances and not paying them off, or you have a bunch of late payments, obviously that will do damage to you. But if you use debt and you pay it off on time, you're building up your credit score, right? You're building up it's credit building. So, and in turn, in the future, it's a lot easier to get loans for things like mortgages, things like car loans, and certain credit cards, and just personal loans, lines of credit. It just makes it a lot easier. You make that financing process go a lot smoother. I know for me, for cars, when I first started off, when I was applying for car loans and leases and things like that, I would get denied. This was like early on, my early 20s, where my credit score wasn't built because I wasn't using debt to build up my credit score. And then slowly but surely, I used a secured credit card. From there, I was able to get my first car loan. They were able to see that I was able to make my payments on time. And then I built my credit score up. And now when I I got a Lexus now. When I go to the Lexus dealership and I go put in an application, it's a lot smoother. They trust me. They see my history. So yeah, if you utilize debt to your advantage, you could build out that credit score pretty nicely. All right, number 4, inflation hedge. Fixed rate debt becomes less costly in real terms over time during periods of inflation. Your loan payments remain the same while the value of money decreases, effectively making your debt cheaper over time. Yeah, so if you're able to get fixed loans and a fixed interest rate and a fixed amount you're going to pay on that loan, essentially, as inflation's going up, right? I mean, inflation every year. We get inflation, I think it's like 2 to 3% around there on average. So that we have that every year. So your money is losing value every year. So if you have a fixed loan, or if you utilize fixed loans, the money you're borrowing becomes a lot cheaper. The money you're paying for that to borrow becomes a lot cheaper. So fixed loans is one of those things where, just by nature of inflation, you'll win if you use fixed loans, opposed to like a variable loan or a variable line of credit, like a credit card, right? Credit card, they're variable rates, the interest you get on that. So it doesn't matter if what inflation does. If interest rates go up, they're gonna raise interest rates on credit cards because it's a variable rate. So yeah, taking advantage of fixed debt is it's a plus, because again, we have inflation, and if you have a fixed interest rate that you're paying, you're not gonna be the money in nature, because of inflation, you're gonna be paying less, right? So that's just one that just comes because it comes. 5, access to opportunity. Debt can provide immediate access to resources or opportunities that would otherwise be out of reach. For example, borrowing for education or specialized training can increase future earning potential, making it a long-term positive investment. And this is true too. You see this with student loans. Now, obviously, you got to be careful with student loans. If you go to a university, make sure you're not going too much in debt. My rule of thumb is try not to go over $30,000 for college, and make sure, it obviously depends on the degree. But I think most people could get scholarships, depending on how well you did in high school. Most people could get scholarships. But also, I would consider all the options, right? If you want to go to college, is what you're going for going to make money? Are you going to be able to get out of college and make a good income to pay off that debt? But for this specifically, it just says access to opportunity. So that's the fifth way to leverage debt, because if we didn't have debt, nobody would be able to go to college, because most people don't just have the 30K. I wouldn't say 30K a year. That's too much too. I would say at least in total, maybe. I mean, if you're doing room and board, maybe 50K. But again, I 50K or lower, and the degree needs to be like finance, accounting, or you could come out making like 60 to 70,000 and begin to pay off that loan. I mean, the less debt you get is better, but I would say don't go over 50. Obviously, if you're a doctor and things like that, it will go over, but your salary that you're going to get is going to match the debt, right? But there's also ways you can minimize that. But what this is saying is, with debt, you can borrow and get into things that you typically wouldn't have the money for. So again, education was one of those. We borrow for that. Even a car, right? Maybe for the job opportunity, you need a car to move forward, and then you go get a loan to get a car, but it's going to pay off. Maybe you use it for Uber, right? Now you have access to a car that you can use for Uber and now make some money, right? So debt provides you access to opportunity. Again, we said it in the beginning, for houses, business expansion, and things like that. So it does present opportunity as well. But yeah, those are the 5 ways to use debt to your advantage. 1, leverage for investments. 2, tax deductions. 3, credit building. 4, inflation hedge. 5, access to opportunity. If you're using debt, make sure you try to use it in one of these 5 ways. I think it's going to be very beneficial, and you'll be taking advantage. But yeah, some housekeeping items. Make sure you guys go follow me on Instagram, Mr. Financial Nutrition. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok, Financial Nutrition. I post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.